0432.
That's right. Remember the number 399-0432, and you heard it on KDKO. The Dr. Daddio getting it on the road this evening, baby, with 3 past the hour, 4 o'clock. That's what it is, a flashback, and away we go. Soul memory for all of you out there. On the Bill Cody telling your mama, get your life straight. Get your life straight. That's all right. Bill Cody laying down a swinging sound for you this soulful afternoon with the Daddy on the radio. Your boss with the hot sauce, bringing the time down exactly 6 past the hour, 4 o'clock, telling your mama to get your life straight.
Hey, you. Who, mate? Not so loud. I got a hot tip for you.
Don't you miss out on a truck deal. See Mr. Nobody at Roosevelt Bank Ford Trucks, 3780 East Colfax.
That's right. Do it today without a delay. Here, baby. When you swing in at Roosevelt Bank Ford Trucks, make sure you sell out of my man Pete. Tell him the Daddy told you about it at KDKO.
Dr. Daddio services are this Saturday. I want you to go to drdaddio.com, and you're going to be able to see everything that you would like to see about Dr. Daddio. It's up, it's live, it's there right now. drdaddio.com. James Dr. Daddio Walker. You've got history. You can still get his book on Amazon. It's called Radio in My Soul. The obituary is there. James Frederick Walker Sr., Dr. Daddio. Sunrise, April 24th, 1939. Born in Otta Taylor, Louisiana. Sunset, January 26th, 2026 in Denver, Colorado. It's got the early years, a life of purpose and determination, breaking barriers and building dreams, revitalization of community and culture, a legacy of faith, strength, and wisdom, the foundation of his soul. It's all here at drdaddio.com. If you want information about the services, the public viewing is at Ballard Family Mortuary, 6700 Smith Road, Denver 80207. That's on Friday from 4 to 7. See, it's all here. It's all here. Like, I believe that we should all be here to celebrate the life of Dr. Daddio on this Saturday, this Friday, the viewing. The grand celebration of life, it is right here. Saturday, February 7th, it will be at Macedonia Baptist Church, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Then there's going to be a grand celebration parade through 5 Points. And then we are going to go to Cleo Parker Robinson's Dance Theater, the new dance theater, the one that Cleo Parker Robinson and family under the leadership of Malik Robinson, $26 million. So if you don't think that it can happen, we've got a $26 million addition around the corner. That's the power of this community. That's the power of people working together. But it is an example of saying we're going to do the celebration in 2 places. We still own the black churches. We still have Cleo Parker Robinson's. We still have Brother Jeff's Cultural Center. We still have the Black American West Museum. We still have Styles African American Heritage Center. I'm talking about things that are ours, where we've got the keys and we can do in those places what we'd like. We've got the Welton Street Cafe. I mean, I could go on and on and on in terms of what we have as a community. That way we don't have to continue to focus on what we don't have and what we have lost for whatever reasons. We can figure out how that took place and right the ship. We get to kick off this show talking about a good friend, brother, like everything to us, Dr. Daddio.
Well, we lost Jimmy last night, and we were talking. I think that the last time he appeared on radio, he appeared with me. You brought him over to 710, and we did a show, and he reminisced and told stories, and he was a legend.
Talked about his book, Radio in My Soul.
Yeah.
I'm glad he put this book together.
I am too.
You know, and I was able to help put this book together.
And Jimmy did it while he was with us.
You know, it was really interesting. For those of you who don't know, we are honoring the life of a communications legend, not just here in this city, but just wherever these airwaves, wherever they wave, whatever it does, Dr. Daddio will be forever remembered as a pioneer, as someone who used communication in so many different ways. And he became an ancestor last night, and the family wants everyone to know that they appreciate all the love and the support and all of the well wishes. And they're not grieving, they're celebrating, because it was definitely a life well lived.
Jimmy came up out of Louisiana at the time of Jim Crow. I mean, and he went to Houston, he made his bones, and then he came here. And in our business, they call it O&O, owned and operated. And there were very few African-American O&Os. And I grew up on a black station in Pittsburgh called WAMO, W-A-M-O, and I thought it was a black station, later to find out, Anglos owned it. But with the exception of one guy, Porky Chadwick, the afternoon drive guy, everybody was African-American in the lineup. But there were places in the South, B.B. King was a jock. Those guys, they worked in the South on the radio. And a lot of this stuff came out of Georgia. James Brown owned radio stations.
Yes.
And he does that thing. And when I was a kid, when he said, "Oh, I was a boy, I shined shoes in front of this building. Man. Today I own it."
Absolutely.
James Brown, say it loud.
Daddio said, I'm broke as a goat, loose as a goose, and here for anything that don't cost money.
No money, yep. And he, Daddio house party, live in a living color. What color am I coming through to you?
It's just such an incredible businessman, philanthropist, social kind of icon in terms of looking out for the little person. And I'm not sure there were folks that are ready for someone who uses their voice to even buck the system or hold the system accountable.
When I met Jimmy, I was starting out as a traffic reporter and an on-air guy. And I'd been listening to Jimmy, but I was thinking somebody took me over to meet him. And I think that's where I met your mom, believe it or not, was for the first time. You must have been, I don't know, middle school or seriously.
Yeah.
And I knew what Jimmy was doing. And I went to a Bobby Blue Bland show with Jimmy, and he was putting on show. He brought the Jacksons.
Yeah, he kidnapped the Jackson Five.
Yes, he did. He did. And he brought the Jacksons. He brought James Brown. He knew JB. I mean, it was like he. And I think in that era that people called the Chitlin Circuit, or they had names for what was going on. The guys that played the Howard Theater and played the Apollo. Jimmy was in that circle.
Man, I will tell you, there's a lot of tributes going out in social media with individuals talking about Dr. Daddio. And Andrew Hudson, when he was working for Mayor Wellington Webb, he's got something posted on the internet, and he said, when I worked for the mayor of Denver, Dr. Daddio kept us for real. He made sure that the third Saturday of the month was reserved for Mayor Webb to spend an hour in the morning talking with Daddio on his show.
Yeah.
He could be abrasive, but he could cut through the BS too. He said, I remember one time when I worked for Mayor Webb, there was a big snowstorm around Thanksgiving. My PR partner at City Hall, Peggy Wortham, we all know Peggy Wortham, called me and said, listen to KDKO. Daddio is raging about the mayor and the city. I tuned into 1510 AM, and he was hopping mad about not seeing any snow plows in 5 Points. I know there are snow plows in South Denver. I know there are snow plows in Cherry Creek. I'm sure the fine folks in the Denver Country Club neighborhoods are getting their streets plowed, but not here in the hood. 5 Points needs its plows too. Don't forget where you came from, Mayor Webb. Andrew said, he said, don't forget where you came from, Mayor Webb. He said, Andrew said, I called the head of Denver Public Works and told him to get 3 plows and park them in front of KDKO studios and call me when they were there.
Yeah.
When I got the notice that the plows were there, I called Daddio and went on the air. Daddio, we were listening down here at City Hall and want you to know that we do care about the points. Can you look outside your window? He said,
I remember that.
Well, Daddio said, well, it's about damn time, Andrew. He said, I think he was impressed, but he didn't let on. When we think about Daddio, he held power accountable.
Yeah, and then he was also smart enough to get out at the right time.
Yes.
And that was more significant. He could see the future coming. He sold to Phil Anschutz. That was Phil Anschutz's son-in-law, who put on a radio station called Ralph to go with Alice.
Uh-huh.
And that tapped. But in the meantime, Jimmy was out clean. And he spent the rest of his life although he was never in retirement.
Never.
Because he came over to 760 and went to work with us. And then Daddy would come in and do the radio show when I was doing mornings on KHOW. And then when I went to 710, I think he came over a couple of different times and did shows. But he had a great set of pipes. I mean, he was a baritone is the term they give, but he had that deep, sounded like coming out of a rain barrel.
Wow, he gave a stint over at KUVO, I remember.
Yep.
So many tributes coming through the internet. Terry Gentry says, keeping the family lifted up in prayer, sending you love. He was a blessing and community angelic warrior. Yeah. I will miss his love and encouragement. I wonder if a lot of people remember Daddio's Kitchen on Wheels. Remember he was doing barbecue, had the big barbecue grill, and then
and Daddy Bruce was
his mentor.
Yeah, right.
He loved Daddy Bruce.
Yeah, Daddy was his guy. Yeah.
He had fair share jobs.
Yeah, no,
Daddio was on it.
Oh,
he was the one that really made sure that the MLK Parade was publicized as well. Remember, radio was doing remotes.
Oh, of course, I did them.
Of course you did. Did you have to blow up the balloon and put up the stuff and all the things?
We had. I never had the balloon. That was a KLZ item, but we had everything else. Well, we had a balloon, but it wasn't our radio station. We would use it, but no, doing remotes was what you did on Saturday to try and make extra money. That was a remote, and Daddy did remotes, but Daddy Bruce Randolph was really the mentor for everybody.
Absolutely.
For doing that stuff.
In terms of saying, look, I'm going to give back, and my success is not only mine, but it belongs to everyone.
Yeah, no, it truly does.
The world's changed a little bit, though.
The business has changed. The business is never going to be what it once was. And when Daddy was at his height, radio was at its height as well. Next Saturday on the radio show, a legendary named Steve Keeney. Steve ran Kim Radio in the salad days of Kim.
KIMN?
Kim, and that was the top 40 white boy radio station. And Keeney did it, and then he went and ran KHOW through the heights of KHOW. All that time, Jimmy was doing what he was doing here, and he was doing well. He never took a back seat to anybody.
One of the things people don't realize about radio and communications, the money is in being able to sell.
Absolutely.
And folks won't let you sell. They'll let you get on the mic, but they won't let you go in front of those folks and say, let me write up these contracts and let me get where the money's at.
People ask me, they said, what did you do for a living when you did the morning show on 710 or KHOW? And I said, Monday through Friday from 5 in the morning till 10 in the morning, I gathered the greatest amount of people I could to me, sold them white teeth and Cadillacs and buy-down mortgages. That's what I did. And, we tried to do a good show in between, but Jimmy could sell.
Oh, my gosh.
Jimmy could sell.
He's the one who taught me, said, listen, when you're doing a bill, I mean, you're doing a deal.
Yeah.
Never use a red pen, because people have been trained since they were children to think that red means a mistake. He said, never hand anybody a red pen, and don't do business with a red pen.
My mentors were Bob Lee and Lindsay English and Hal Moore and all those guys, and they had really come out of the 50s. And in the 50s, they'd go to work with a mask and a gun. I mean, those guys would steal. And they taught you how to do it. And, you know, and then you realize it was expected. And Jimmy was in that class, you know, of on-air guys. And we knew what to do after a while. And
you know, I think he was real big on telling us and everyone, you give people their flowers when they're living, when they can smell them. And I think that Daddio knew that a lot of people loved and appreciated him. So there are people who are remembering Daddio, but he gave and he received.
There's a saying called "from my warm hand." What it
From my
means
warm
is
hand.
you're gonna get it when I'm dead. I just as soon give it to you now.
Yeah.
From my warm hand. It's an ethnic German saying, and and it makes sense too. I mean, and Jimmy did that. I mean, when the last time I saw him, and you were kind enough to bring him over to the radio station, he still had that spark.
Oh,
he still had that flair.
all the way till the transition. As a matter of fact, Senate President James Coleman and the Colorado legislature are doing resolutions and tributes
To Daddio.
to Daddio, the mayor, and all of the folks are pouring in. Terry Coleman says, "I remember Dr. Daddio always announced events for the young people to keep us out of trouble. One of those events mentioned was the Battle of the Quartet by May Adams. That was held every year at various places around Denver, Colorado back in the day. To the Walker family, my condolences and prayers are with you. Rest in peace, my friend." And it just goes on and on and on and on.
I remember him, and I think you and I went to it. There was something at Manual High School. We went together, and Jimmy emceed it, and I'm trying to remember, but I think it was like local quartets or.
Oh yeah.
And he was always doing that stuff, and he'd call me up, come with me, and I'd go along, but it was his family too. His granddaughter was with him.
Miss Thing.
Miss Thing. And no, he was what radio once was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Daddio, rest in peace. A lot of folks are saying, oh my goodness. Cheryl Renee says KDKO was it in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
And for my mom, Katie Love, and all the groups in town, that radio station was their source of staying on top of the new hits, to add to the pump, you know, and to, you know, pump up their shows. Peter Boyles, how will Daddio be remembered?
By guys like me and you. And, you know, and one thing that you do know is that now if I ask people, for instance, about Alan Berg, whose life was taken, you could walk down the mall and I suspect not many people would know. Mm-hmm. But and Jimmy will fade as long as you know you and I are alive. Jimmy's alive.
Absolutely.
But
Aaron says Daddio provided the music for his grandparents' funeral. His grandfather was in the music group way back when it was way back when, and it was a fitting tribute to send her home. Daddio touched a lot of lives.
Oh.
And I think that that's the way he will be remembered.
And especially in this neighborhood, before the gentrification began, before politics changed the scene, when you came into the black neighborhood, it was Jimmy.
He moved here when folks was not moving here.
No, that's true. He came up in what, 60? What year did Jimmy come up?
Oh, man.
From Houston.
66 around that time, but I know when the station moved from Littleton, or the signal was in Littleton, and when he purchased it, he moved the headquarters right in the middle of 5 Points.
Yeah.
Right at that time where folks was like, I'm not sure I'm going to 5 Points.
No, I would say but I grew up on an ethnic station, and I didn't realize that what I was listening to, he was replicating. They were doing it in Atlanta, Georgia. They were doing it in a lot of places. But now that things have somewhat lightened up, then indeed, because Jimmy was the soul, the heart and soul of the neighborhood.
Man.
If you came in the neighborhood, it was Jimmy.
Like Daddio said, unity in the community. He would also say, if you don't know by now, you better ask somebody. And Brother Omar is in the building.
You know, Brother Jeff, you and I talk often, but it's been a while since I've been on the show.
Because you've been busy. you've been always into something. Always. But you know what? We also always talk to Dr. Daddio. He held us down, bro.
Bro, let me close my notes. Dr. Daddio was a mentor, a friend, a role model. And, you know, I'm new to Colorado, and I get this call saying, when I was working at CU Denver, Brother Montgomery, you need to come to this show, and you need to be on my show. It wasn't like an ask. If you know Dr. Daddio, I'm like, yes, sir. I don't know who I'm talking to because, you know, I'm new to Colorado. And then I go to the show. He is so warm and so welcoming. And then after the show, he says, he gives me a nickname, you the professor. That's what I'm going to call you. and then that strengthened the bond between you and I.
Yeah.
Because you and I was on the show at the same time.
Yes.
And so I just want to thank him for you and I knew each other, but that really built that bond. So I just want to thank Dr. Daddio, one, for bringing me closer to my brother, family brother, Colorado family brother, Brother Jeff, and for what you and your family have contributed to civil rights, social justice, and yes, the NAACP. Now, people will say, well, you know, you see him at a meeting, this, that, and the other, but if it wasn't for his directives,
right.
If it wasn't for him letting us know what needed to be done, we couldn't have done our work. So thank you, Dr. Daddio.
Dr. Daddio. Not much. I mean, the love is out there. The expressions of gratitude are out there. And I could tell you, anything Brother Omar and I were or are about, Daddio was like, I'm in there.
100%. I'm going to tell you something else. My mother and him were good friends. They would talk daily, argue. I say argue.
Yep.
They would argue about politics, but he gave my mother so much love because remember, he started that organization of honoring Black authors.
Yes.
And one of the first meetings, he invited my mom to share her book.
That's right.
That's how much love I have for this brother and the love he showed to me and my family.
That's right. That is exactly right. You and I both grew up with and around Dr. Daddio.
Yes, we did. KDKO.
And just a whole nother level. I heard, I was talking to Patty Calhoun at the Westward, and she said it best. She said it's the end of an era.
Oh, I mean, definitely an era, especially an era for Denver. This is, you know, he's on our Mount Rushmore, right? Like along with Daddy Bruce, you know, Cleo Parker Robinson, you know, other people that have kind of paved the way for this community. Dr. Daddio is the one who really kept us informed. For some of us, he gave us opportunities through, you know, I worked at KDKO through the internship program, and it opened up all kinds of doors for me. You know, he's just one of those guys, you know, with Juneteenth and he was the Kitchen on Wheels. He was always forward thinking. And like I said, he gave me my start in radio, which opened so many doors still to this day. You know, working in the media, and the things I've been able to see and do just from my beginnings at KDKO. So he's definitely somebody who it needs to be revered in the city. Like he should have a street. Like we should have Dr. Daddio Boulevard, like somewhere over here in the hood. Like maybe Welton will be Dr. Daddio Boulevard because he did so much on this street.
Well, I could tell you, for those of you who know anything about radio, Calvin Williamson in the post of the Northeast Denver Love and History, he posted a little air check of Daddio.
Wow.
Now, a lot of people don't know what an air check is. You know what an air check is.
Yes.
But what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little air check so we get a little feel for what Daddio was
Going into his breaks, coming out.
Yeah, let's see how let's hear what Daddio was about.
0432.
That's right. Remember the number 399-0432, and you heard it on KDKO. The Dr. Daddio getting it on the road this evening, baby, with 3 past the hour, 4 o'clock. That's what it is, a flashback, and away we go. With a soul memory for all of you out there. On the Bill Cody telling you, mama, get your life straight. Get your life straight. Oh, yes, indeed, baby. That's all right. Bill Cody laying down a swinging sound for you this soulful afternoon with the Daddio on the radio. Your boss with the hot sauce, bringing the time down exactly 6 past the hour, 4 o'clock, telling your mama to get your life straight.
Hey, who, mate? Not so loud. I got a hot tip for you. Say, if you're looking for a good deal in a truck, there's this fella, see? His name is Mr. Nobody.
You mean the Rosenbach Ford? I know all about that.
Oh, how'd you find out?
Golly, it's been in the papers, been on the radio. In fact, the other truck dealer's been talking about it for years, saying that nobody can make their deal on their trucks and things.
Well, I've been out of town for a while. I missed it.
Don't you miss out on a truck deal. See Mr. Nobody at Roosevelt Bank Ford Trucks, 3780 East Colfax.
That's right. Do it today without a delay. Here, baby. When you swing in at Rosenbach Ford Trucks, make sure you sell out of my man Pete. Tell him the Daddio told you about it at KDKO. That's what you got, baby. More sweet soul music on KDKO. And hey, little mama. Oh, come on in here, Junior Parker. Let's do our thing, man. I'll let you know exactly how I feel, girl. Let you know, too, what I need.
Oh, Big J, what you know about that?
Come on, man. I
The
listen.
boss with the hot sauce.
When I worked at KDKO, after I went through the intern program, I was on after him. So after he did his show from 4 to 6, I came on from 6 to 10, and I mean, just that was Daddio. I mean, he was the energy. He was the whole building. Like he just, it was, and he was an imposing figure. He wasn't a small dude, right? So it was like, and he had this voice, and he had, like he was the Duke of Denver. Like he was the guy. Like I mean,
the boss with the hot sauce.
The boss with the hot sauce. You remember the little KDKO stickers, the hot sauce bottle.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it just,
if you don't know by now,
better ask somebody. That's the stand and the saying, and then I remember T Hud and like I said, Big Baby and
Danny Harris.
Jennifer, yes.
Do you know who was at KDKO that folks may not know was at KDKO, but was a central part of the KDKO, and that was Carlos Landos of KUVO, who just retired from KUVO. He was a part of the KDKO family, and it was interesting because the black and the brown community was so united because of KDKO.
Because of KDKO.
Like, it was like we've always been one family, but yes, it was soul music, but it was largely a black and brown community.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, how disconnected have we become as a community because KDKO is no longer on the air?
People don't know Ricky O. Ricky O was a part of KDKO.
I still see Rick. I still see Mike.
Let me tell you who I was able to teach and bring into radio, because I was running Dr. Daddio's KDKO's intern program.
Yes.
Tony V.
Wow. From KS175
KS1075
or Y108 or
all of that.
Yeah.
Tony V got his start in the intern program at KDKO.
You know what? I do remember that because I remember Tony V on the air all the time. I remember Tony V, and then I remember him going off and saying, okay, he's doing other things on the FM side, but I do remember Tony V, man.
Here's what I remember most about Tony V. We had the internship program, and we were interviewing individuals to be a part of the internship program. Tony V walked in the door and he said, I don't know who's being interviewed, but I can already tell you I got this.
Well,
he was a young cat coming in with that energy. Like,
I remember Tony
that
V.
same boss with the hot sauce. Tony V came in with that kind of
and
energy.
that program was so great. It got us, I remember you was on here talking the other day when Dr. Daddio had passed, and you were talking about carts.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I'm just all the carts, and remember when something would go wrong, or you be playing something that you shouldn't be playing, that red phone would ring, and that siren would go on.
To go.
Like, oh, this is Daddio. You knew who it was. It wasn't nobody else but. So
one person with that number.
That was it. It was. And
Daddio. If it rings, you better answer.
Answer it too. So that's what I'm saying. I loved working at KDKO.
Kingdom worked there,
right up the street, on top of the Wells Fargo building. That's where I was doing my work there. I left in '98.
Didn't you go like to ESPN?
Yes, I started. KDKO opened so many doors. I left KDKO and I went to work for KOA and then KHOW, and I did work for John Caldera. Donna Starr, all them people on that platform, and then I got a job working with Ken Hamblin, on the American View Radio Network. It was on 106 stations, and that taught me a lot. Now, that working for a black Republican in most of his stations and that are syndicated are down south. It was tough because you heard a lot about just a lot of disrespect from America back then. So I got out of there and I learned syndicated radio, and in that I applied for a job at ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut, and I went out there to work, and I still to this day people ask me, why did you leave ESPN? Because my kids they hated it out in Connecticut.
Okay.
And I was missing Colorado in a way that I didn't think I would, and I was gone for 11 years, and then my dad was. I think that was like when I got back in 2011. He calls me down to the house over here on Humboldt, and he invites me in, and I was like, well, what is this about? And he says, Jason, I want you to get more involved in the community, and I was like, you got 5 kids and you picked me,
right?
Of all of them he's like, because none of them else is going to take it serious. I know you will, and I want you to do more in the community. And when I left his house, I was like, I don't even know where to begin. And I got with Tux and Dane, and we started Fresh 101, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. But it was John McBride who really would have us at meetings with the 5 Points Business Association before Norm took it over. It was Reggie and Robert Ames, and it was some people. We'd have these meetings with all these great people who had been in part of the community for so long, and we just were able to just soak up all of that stuff, from my dad, from Dr. Daddio, from all these people that were down here before us. So it just the whole Dr. Daddio Welton experience. This is Dr. Daddio. This is the whole experience. Is you still think of him?
Yes.
When you come down here every Juneteenth, I think of him.
Right.
I hope to see him or hear his voice. I wanted him, I wish he was a bigger part of, things, here recently, but I know he was getting older. But I still think he was just, critically important to our community. And obviously, because you can see where our community is without KDKO.
Man, I could tell you there's some funny individuals and stories, but when you listen to Deborah Walker on KUVO, and she's got the the gospel train, she came out of KDKO.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did.
When you think of here's a name folks may not know, Becky Davis.
Becky Davis Taylor.
Becky Davis Taylor was married to Al your pal. Al's name is Al Taylor. It was Becky Davis Taylor.
Right.
She worked in KDKO and then went to go do the jazz station, and then went on to go be a major part of that Winter Park Jazz Festival.
Just the things and the people that have come from the doors, and the things that they have done since then, and they all learned those things from Dr. Daddio and KDKO.
There was folks with. There was the Mystery Man.
Yes. Oh.
Now, well, since it's 2026, I guess we could tell them who the Mystery Man is
Ricky
now.
Is the Mystery Man. Yes.
Ricky Walker was the Mystery Man.
It. That was the Mystery.
Daddio's son.
His son.
The Mystery Man.
Yolanda
Walker.
Lindsay was. I haven't seen Lindsay in years. I know she's grown now.
Lindsay is Miss Thing.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
Miss Thing was working with Dad. Lindsay grew up in the lap of Daddio in that control room. Then they did some work over at KUVO.
I remember her because she would be on his show, and she would take do a couple breaks, and I was like, Lindsay's like 9, so it was just being. And once you worked there, you was part of the family. Like you was part of the family,
and that's what we're calling out everybody that had a part of KDKO and all of those many different entities of Daddio. We're going to put out a form because we want to honor everybody and have them come be a part of the homegoing celebration, which is being put together right now. End of an era. Let me tell you who I used to come in all the time. Like, I don't know if people remember Deacon McCraft in the old Ship of Zion. Radio was such an interesting dynamic because them carts with them sound effects, it'd be like, the old Ship of Zion, you'd hear that ship going out. Yep. Hit that. Poof. Yep. It's the old Ship of Zion. And then, everybody knows Big Raj. Big Roger. Big Raj. Now, the Big Raj that you all know in the community now, I worked with his dad. His dad was Big Raj. That was Little Raj.
That's Little Raj.
The Big Raj that you all call Big Raj now, that was Little Raj.
And now his son is Little Raj.
Yes. And so I used to go in and be with his dad all the time because he would open up and do the, good morning and in your hour of bereavement. He'd call the names. He'd be calling them names. We prayer line. They had that prayer line.
That's what was so dope about KDKO. You had people reaching out. And
prayer line.
It was amazing.
Like to say such and such in their hour of bereavement.
Right. And they just said, because your loved one's name was mentioned on the air, and you had a feeling that KDKO cared about what was going on.
Daddio had to remember top of the hour gospel.
Yeah, the top of the hour gospel
had to
song.
play
Everybody had to play a gospel song.
Like you play your music, but at the top of the hour you had to hit that gospel. You'd be playing that Color Purple song. God trying to tell you something.
I was playing Trinity 357 because all the gospels. I remember it was on that rack up here because that was Al Killian's rack. Because Al Killian was the gospel dude on Sundays, and so you didn't really mess with Al's stuff, man. But you had to play that gospel hour.
And then you either had you had the carts, and then you also had a turntable.
Yeah.
So sometimes you could put an album on.
You could
and be like you could play it, but by and large. You had your top 40. They all had a number, and you had to play.
You had to play
from them
your
racks.
Shift. You had to play that.
They all had, and then you could pick your stuff, and it was like, man, they had the reel. So when we would answer the phone. When we'd answer the phone, like, boop. When we hit the thing, the reel would start rolling.
That's how we would record the phone call.
So when the phone call would come in, we hit the button, and the reel is rolling, and we're recording what you're saying. You're like, I want to say happy birthday to Jim Bug and Poo Poo, and I want to just say how much I love you, blah, blah, blah. Well, thank you so much.
I dedicate this to my girl, Cherie, who's listening at home. Baby, I love you. That was all, man.
And then you say, okay, thank you very much. Boom, hit the button. Then you roll it back. And
you had to do it by
then you hit that button. Boom. I want to say thank you to Jim Bug.
You had to line it right up. Had to line it up. Oh, man, I wish we could.
Man, the way we worked at KDKO, when you would come in, you had an air shift, but then remember Yolanda and Miss Pat, they'd hand you a packet.
Yeah, production shift.
Because then was all them production commercials.
You had to do.
You was about to go back there in the control room and make them commercials
and put them on them carts.
And then you put them on the. This is why I could tell you I beat the brakes off of a lot of individuals now because it's so easy. We used to have this razor blade and some scotch tape and a block.
Come on,
and you like, cut. Then you pull, then you put that tape on there, right there. You bend it, and you do all that stuff, and then you load it up on the cart and you bring it in. There's the commercial.
There you go. And you had it. I mean, like you said, it was all your songs was here, and you had Dr. Daddio taught you when you play the song, turn the card over, so that way the next person knows what's been played.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So he comes in and he can get to whatever you hadn't played.
And then when you do it, it's your turn. You flip it back over.
Man, that was the days.
Dr. Daddio.
I mean, he just taught you so much. Every time he opened his mouth, it was about something that you could learn to do better or something like that. And it just made you sharp. And like I said, it was like a family atmosphere up there, and all the events that we did and everything.
As it relates to radio, there's none who has done it as well as Dr. Daddio.
I remember when the Broncos won the Super Bowl the first time,
he bought the
field. He brought the field back from the San Diego.
Yes.
He was there, and they was taking out the field, and he asked, what y'all gonna do with that? And they said, we're gonna throw it away. And he said, no, you're not. He brought all the turf that the Broncos won the Super Bowl on and was selling it, selling it in everything he could put it in. I was like, that is a smart man right there.
Marco got all the lines. What were some of the coolest lines? Because like Marco said, you can't lose with the stuff I use. Now that was Reverend Ike. Remember Reverend Ike? Man, you can't lose with the stuff I use.
Now, could you get Reverend Ike every morning at 6? Because I remember Reverend Ike because we used to listen to it.
Well, what would happen is all of these churches, they would, because I would do the early morning shifts. Mm-hmm. There was times where I did afternoon drive and I did morning and I did all those different things in the production. But on Saturdays, because remember, we could get a little loose on Saturday nights.
Yes, you could, kinda.
Because that signal would go down low. We start putting on some music.
And they lived out in the Aurora. So
they was out in the Aurora. They couldn't hear it. So we in there putting on them cuts, sneaking in that hip hop.
I snuck in some Jay-Z, some Hard Knock Life when that came out. And then, because somebody recorded the show and I got in trouble for playing it. So, I was like, Daddio's everywhere.
Here's some things that they would do. On Saturday, all of the preachers would come to the radio station during the week or before Sunday morning, and they drop their cassette tapes off of their sermons.
Here you go.
And so on Sunday morning, we start playing their church sermons live from Central Baptist Church.
Live from Zion.
Bam!
Right. Here you go. Boom. And then you listen to that, and you sat in that chair, and you played it, and then you played your little commercials when you were supposed to, but you sat in that chair, and then you played that cart, and everything was just by the book, you know what I'm saying? You would mark off your commercials. I just remember the whole process. It was KDKO really prepared me for ESPN.
Do you remember Theory Smith?
I do. I mean,
he was the first one that was having folks calling in like, "This is Cowboy Luke Duke."
I remember Cowboy Luke Duke.
Them is the ones that first had all them titles and names, and they do them takes and they be going off. That came from Black radio, and it came from Theory Smith.
The reason I got into sports talk radio was because of Theory Smith.
Wow.
I loved that show. I loved how people could call in and talk about their team and how he had relationships with some that you could tell, and just being a teenager and listening to that, I really wanted that. And that's what I went for, and I ended up at ESPN. So it's Daddio, Theory Smith, and a lot of those people that I got lessons from along the way. At KDKOU, Big Baby when he showed up on time.
Wouldn't it be something when you do a shift, but the person who was behind you either called in or didn't come in, and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be a long day.
and see, I would be done at 10, right? I worked 6 to 10, and Big Baby was supposed to do the slow jam started at 10. I mean, it would be 11:30. He'd just be sashaying there. I'd be like, man, what are you doing, man? I was still in school at that time. I was like, I got a class, and he'd be like, I'm sorry, big brother, man. I just woke up. I was like, man, all right, man, I'm out of here.
And then we had keys to the building.
Yes, you had keys to get in, and so you could do your shift. And I remember, like, in the studio, maybe you didn't, but there was a window that led out into the roof.
Uh-huh.
And I used to be out on the roof and songs to be playing, and I just used to be watching, looking at Welton. And I remember they built this light rail right here. It was right across the street from the station. And everybody that I was in the intern class with, we assembled there, and we took pictures on that light rail station. I just remember the entire process. KDKO was really a great experience for me, and it was something that you can tell that I mean, if you had a dream to be on radio or in the media or something like that, you could go to KDKO.
That's how we got on.
That's how you got on.
You didn't have to go to the whatever broadcasting school or whatever. It was like, man, I'm going over here to KDKO.
It was free too, and I mean, literally, that's how I got to ESPN.
You touched some lives as well, because Dane actually put, like Dane said, man, Big J on KDKO is what inspired me to get my ish together and go to school for radio broadcasting. And that's what you did.
Well, man, Dane is,
he's doing amazing work, by the way.
Things. That one of my brothers, man.
Dane Jr.,
and I love
the whole
him to
thing.
death, and I've watched him grow from where he was to where he is now, and it's just been an amazing part, just to be a part of that, right? And because I've had my own thing, and we've kind of grown up together, me, him, and Tux, from where we were to where we are right now, and it's just, KDKO is that, and Dane will talk about that, and I think I had so many old audition tapes, and I think Dane may even be able to, or his sister may even have some of those old ones. So we definitely need to talk. But Dane I remember he would be so interested in me coming down here because that's what he wanted to do. And ultimately, he went to the big school. He didn't pay his money.
He did it for real.
Yeah, he went to the big school, the Colorado School of Broadcasting, I think.
Man, I could tell you, in terms of the Latino community, it was George Sweet G Martinez.
Sweet G Martinez, man.
George Sweet G
Martinez. It was Sweet G.
We was all up in there.
Right.
George Sweet G Martinez.
And I remember, I think I came and applied for a job before the intern program. And I think Sweet G was there. I think he was in the office, and it's him and T Hut. It was him and T Hut.
Terrence Hut, T Hut.
The smoothest voice in the city. T Hut the Nut.
There was this one white guy, I forgot his name, but he used to, man, it was a white guy. He was a little disheveled, but he was an afternoon drive DJ. You could not, if you did not know that was a white guy, you would never know that this was a white guy who was on that microphone. But I forgot his name.
I forgot his name too, but you are right. I was like, that's a brother. He's like, no, it ain't. That's a white boy. And matter of fact, me and my mama was coming. We was coming down here.
It was good.
We was coming down here to go to Zona's back in the day, and he came out, and somebody said, that's the DJ from KDKO, and my mom almost got in a fight with him because she didn't believe that was the
that
dude.
white dude. He was like disheveled, looked like a hillbilly.
Like his hair was always a must.
Man, that dude. I'm like, this dude can get down.
I was like, how is he talking like that? How does he sound? How does he even sound like that? Like, it was just, and he wasn't the biggest dude, and he just sounded like me or you, and it was just like,
and you never know that was a white dude.
Like, no, like where was he? Like, are you from Detroit?
He was doing
like,
radio.
Where are you from? Like, yeah, radio it was different than TV, and it's gone because it's basically been phased out, and radio is not the same as it was. These stations that you hear now, you really don't have the personalities, and they're really not involved. And I know 104.7 does their thing, the Drop does their thing, and they try to do as much as they can in the community. But there's never going to be a station like KDKO that was really intensely in the community in terms of educating the community, entertaining the community, providing whatever the community need. Daddio did a great job of just listening to people and just providing those things. And I mean, like I said, our community has not been the same since KDKO has been off the air.
Well, I could tell you the change also was cable television and some of the outlets. Like right now, someone would be hard pressed to listen to commercial radio.
Yeah.
Where commercials would come up, because the trick in terms of radio, you had to be entertaining enough and have the music or the content well enough to where when them paid commercials come on, people don't hit the dial and go somewhere else and then come back to your station. So you have to drive them through them commercial breaks. Right after this commercial break coming up, we about to give away $5 gazillion and 10 tickets to go see Beyonce.
Right.
But you got to wait till you hear, okay, if you hear, so everybody's like, stay in tune. Because if you miss it, you're going to miss it. And in radio, you always move forward. You never go back. You don't say, this is what you just heard. This is what you just missed. You got to say, this is what you got coming. And if you keep listening, right. I'm telling you, you're going to win these tickets to go and hear Beyonce and the rest of them. But you got to hear the quack, quack in 3 pieces.
In three pieces. And then you got to call and be caller number 10.
Caller number 10.
Caller number 15 on the hotline.
The reel's running. You're number 2.
Do you remember?
You're number 6.
Do you remember the phone number?
Oh man, I don't remember.
295-1525.
See now,
that was
man.
the number 303-295-1525. The prize line right here. Give me a call. You will get these Destiny's Child tickets. Remember, Destiny's Child they wasn't what they are right now when they first started. They was still, looking a little rough around the edges. And we was giving away Destiny's Child tickets back in the day when they first started. Before I went to ESPN, so it was Jill Scott. We was giving them away.
Mary J. Blige and Montbello at the Juneteenth.
Please, man. Daddio was
he broke a lot of acts,
man. Like come on, man. Daddio was the dude. Like he was just that guy, and he really needs his own street. Like he really does. I really do believe that.
Here's one of my favorite memories of being on radio because I used to do the Quiet Storm.
Yeah, come on, right,
Mr. Magic, the Quiet Storm coming up. Commodores, that was Zoom. I'm gonna kill you with all these slow jams.
Oh, and so
be trying to go to sleep like, that's my jam. That's my
stay
jam.
up, right? You gotta stay up.
But the coolest part about it was, I had a whole bunch of listeners that was in the penitentiary or the county jail. So they be making these collect calls. They be like, hello, you got a collect call from Fire and Desire.
And because at
you
night,
got a collect call from the county jail, or this is a call from the county jail from Fire and Desire, Rick James.
Right, that's what I want to hear.
Because coming up, Fire and Desire by Rick James.
Especially at night, if you were far away, you could get that you could pick that KDKO signal up, and really kind of if you were far away, like down south, like Pueblo and stuff like that, you can get KDKO signal. But up here, the slow jams, when Big Baby used to be late, I wouldn't be that mad because I would have to take over the slow jams at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And the phones would be blowing up with young ladies trying to hear their song. And I remember before I even got on the air, when you used to have it, we would be playing KDKO, we'd be at home and we'd be trying to set up the radio just right because we knew you was going to play. We knew you was going to play some jams, so we was trying to record on our cassette tapes right off the radio, you know what I'm saying? And you remember, if you got good, you wouldn't get no commercial, you would get the song, and then you would turn it off right in time, and then you would go right into the next song. But that was life for us. We didn't have all these bells and whistles like they do now. We had basic technology. You had maybe a color TV at home, but you only had 3 channels, 4, 7, and 9. There wasn't all this cable and all this, man. So we really had to entertain ourselves, and Daddio and KDKO put the people on the air, and you were entertained, and you were able to listen. If you could hear it at night, you definitely were entertained. But you got it at 6 in the morning. It was the signal was nice and strong, and you got the gospel out of the way at 7, and then you got your day started. And that's what when your mom picked you up from school or wherever y'all went, KDKO was on in the car.
And that's the trick of radio. You want to make sure that they go to sleep with you on, so they wake up to that morning drive.
That's it.
And you can still hit them with them commercials and that music. I remember all of those winners who used to run up the stairs to get their CDs or to get their tickets. It could get chaotic over there sometime, wouldn't they?
Right. I was here first. I'm like, you got 2 tickets. You got 2 tickets. Just hold on. Like, they're all in the same section. It's just everybody. Boy, Daddio used to have it popping over there, man. You get these tickets away, McBride. You get these tickets away. Make sure you get these tickets away. Yes, sir.
Do you remember, because Pat Walker, Daddio's lovely wife.
Yes.
And Yolanda, and they would hold down the office.
Yep.
They was doing the billing and making sure them checks was taken
They was
care.
admin. They was admin.
But
definitely.
at lunch, they was always ordering that Capri chicken.
Come on, man.
Like there was that radio station always had food in there.
If you didn't smell hot sauce when you walked in the office, something was wrong. Something was wrong.
It was the black organization.
The black experience, and it was full of black stuff with black people, black culture, and it's everything that our community needed and still needs. But we don't have it because the way, like you said, radio's different now. Radio's totally different now. It's not.
And things change. Remember, Daddio's from the era where you had the Spinners and you had all those other individuals, and they would perform and do concerts, and they'd be having on tuxedos, they'd be having on cummerbunds and tuxedo. The whole band looked like they just came from the wedding, the whole group looked like they the best men. Stop, boom, they doing all that. They got the big old tuxedos on, and then all of a sudden, black folks started showing up performing in tennis shoes and their pants sagging, and Daddy will be like, "You ain't coming here, and you ain't not performing here with that on. You gonna have to pull them pants up."
And like just like that. And that's what we need, because he was not going to go. If it didn't meet his moral compass, his standards, it wasn't going on. And that was for the good of this community. I mean, honestly. So
he's like,
no, Daddio wouldn't, and Daddio didn't play. See, that's what y'all don't understand. Daddio was had the heart of gold, but you had to do things the right way.
If look, it was not for the faint of heart.
No,
Did we hit him with the trigger alert?
Yeah, we did.
The trigger alert, like, everybody that can't handle these comments and all that, you couldn't have worked at KDKO.
Nah, because it was raw, in raw form. It was raw, and if you were sensitive, or
it's gonna be hard for
you to make it in that building, and that's what helped me too, man. It prepared you for so many things, because you had to dig, like, you wasn't playing. Like, if you did your stuff right, then you didn't have to worry about it. But if you did anything out of line,
you're about to get about it. And it ain't gonna be private.
I remember when they took us, because we had gotten in trouble because we was just, we was just being rebellious, and we was just using slang and talking like that. And I remember Yolanda took us off the air for a whole week. All we could do was play music. We couldn't even open up that mic. All we could play was music and commercials, and that was it. That was it.
Remember Daddio used to do them youth fishing trips and take them kids to the mountains and all that. He'd be like, "Brother Jeff, come on, we're gonna go do fishing in the mountains with these kids." I'm like, "They got toilets up there?" "There ain't no toilets." I'm like, "I ain't going." I'm from the city. I'm not going up there. I'm not going.
And that's part of it too. You wasn't just a disc jockey, a DJ at KDKO. You had other shifts that you had to do. I remember I was at when he had the kitchen on wheels over on Oneida.
Oh yeah.
I was in there probably 2-3 in the morning. We was wait a minute. We was cooking barbecue.
Yeah.
And he needed help, and he was in there. It was me, and it was other on-air people, in there helping him with that barbecue, because we had to get it ready, because he had a big function. It was like either Cinco de Mayo, or it was something that he had to get like 100 racks of ribs and chicken and everything ready, because the kitchen on wheels was over there on Oneida, right where. What's over there now?
Because Brother Herman's barbershop used to be there.
Yep.
And then there was it's totally gentrified now.
Well,
now
the liquor store is right there.
But right there was the Supreme Style. Well, before it was Supreme Style, Brother Herman was cutting hair in there, and then 2 doors down was Daddio's Kitchen on Wheels, where he was in there on Oneida.
And they put what's over there now? One of them chain, like a Cactus Jacks, or one of them.
Trader Joe's
chain Tex-Mex restaurants is over there now.
Man, Daddio.
Like, that whole street is an embarrassment. I don't even go over there. Like where Mighty Mart used to be on the corner, right on Oneida, man.
How many stars did you meet with Daddio? Because I could tell you, I was able to hang out with James Brown. I was in the back. See, we got to see all the backstage stuff.
Right, because
when the stars are getting dressed up and then they ready to go back out in front of the public and all that. I'm back there with James Brown. I'm like, "James Brown." He's like, I'm like, "Assalamu alaikum." James Brown like, "Alaikum salam."
So you mentioned right. He was all.
They don't know that James Brown's security guard manager was a Muslim. He's like,
they don't.
Wa alaikum salam.
They don't. But let me see. I met Mary J. Casey and JoJo.
Men at Large.
Men at Large.
Usher.
Alfred Woodard. Woodard. He had her here for some reason. It was at Juneteenth. Alfred Woodard. It was a lot of people you would meet up there.
You know who I met up there? I met Usher when he first broke.
Yep.
And then also, you know who else I met and I talked to in the control room, actually in the production room, was Aaliyah.
Yep.
I remember her. I asked her about R. Kelly.
And
it wasn't on the air, Big J.
I know, but still.
But I had to ask because it was when the controversy was really raving. I was like,
people don't understand that.
She said, I won't say what she told me. But
those music labels would send those people to the station because they wanted
it was promotional.
It was promotional. Yeah, so we would get those people for free, and Daddio would always do something great.
Blues shows, big shows, productions, concerts.
My grandfather would never missed a Daddio's blues show on Sundays. Never.
The dean of black journalism, John Bowman. You know, John Bowman. You know he was a part of KDKL.
Yeah, he was sports. He was
doing all that. He also did Inner City Visions. Do you remember Inner City Visions?
Inner City Visions.
Talk radio, music, gospel. Daddio covered everything in that format. But there was a program called Inner City Visions, and John Bowman was a part of all of that. Me and John, we used to sit up in those meetings, those Monday night meetings, trying to keep our head up, because Daddio going, look, y'all ain't never been at no meetings until you go to a Daddio meeting.
Especially if he's not happy, you're going to be in there.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be in there. You're going to be in there.
Don't be trying to do no show when you're not prepared either.
Don't play no rap music. If you get caught, you are going to hear it. You get caught, you're in trouble. That phone's going to ring, and you better answer it. And you go, what are you playing on my station? I remember I played the instrumental one time going into a commercial break, and he didn't like that. I was like, I'm sorry, Daddio. I'm sorry. I didn't play no more. It was just a bed under what I was saying.
Let me tell you all something that I do know from my own standpoint. Some individuals who are in very high prominent positions, I've heard Daddio cuss them out personally.
Hey, I don't want to name names.
I can tell you, don't get on Daddio's bad side. And don't act like you're going to ignore the black community or you're going to minimize this. Trust me, there's a few choice words that you're going to be hearing, and I guarantee you're not going to like them.
Whoever was running KUVO when it was in that building right there had done something, and they were supposed to send some people over to do a commercial or something, and they hadn't done. And Daddio undressed them like it was like you, but Daddio was all it was right, because you're supposed to be here to do this at this time. We've been waiting for you, and you don't have even no respect to call or anything like that. And so that's basically what it was about. I don't remember who was running the station, but he listened, and I mean, and that's the kind of respect Daddio, garnered, because first of all, he had this super deep voice. He was this big figure with this beard, and you knew who it was instantly when you picked up the phone, and you always listened to everything he said before you opened your mouth.
I was so fortunate because none of it was a shock to me, because I was raised in Daddio's house. So since 4 years old. So there was never a time that I wasn't around Dr. Daddio in the Walker family, because I was raised in the Walker household. But what I want to tell you that really impressed me, and individuals don't know about or didn't see, or maybe I've never heard anybody talk about it, but before I do talk about it, the thing about Daddio is that he was and is an alpha black man.
Definitely.
And I'm not sure how comfortable mainstream status quo, particularly white America, is with alpha black men that will get up in your face as an independent owner and stand, like, I'm talking about that Jack Johnson kind of
right.
That Jack Johnson kind of vibe. Like, Daddio, you gotta admit, he was an alpha. He was alpha.
He's a man's man. I mean, you learn so much from Daddio, not just the work, but taking care of your family, being responsible, doing those things. It was just, I my time with him, I wish I had a longer time, but I was destined for other things. But Without him, I would not be sitting right here.
There's a lot of reasons folks say that Daddio moved Juneteenth to Montbello. And there was a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons was also he said, there's going to come a time these white folks ain't going to have you down here in these 5 Points. He telegraphed gentrification long before anybody knew about gentrification.
He was so smart because he had seen so much coming up from where he was at in the South, and saw how the world was progressing, and then also saw what was happening here. And to be honest with you, Brother Jeff, if KDKO was still around on Welton, I don't think Welton would be as gentrified as it is right now.
One of the things that I remember, I'm gonna tell you who was on the air, because we talked about George Sweet G Martinez.
Yes, that's hilarious.
He did kind of the afternoon drive.
Mm-hmm.
Morning, do you remember JJ Prince?
JJ Prince, yes.
Okay.
The Prince of the City.
Now remember, I'm doing the Quiet Storm late night up until 5 a.m.
Right.
And then, the Old Ship of Zion, and then, Big Raj, This is when, this was back in the day when cigarette smoking was legal and accepted everywhere.
Inside, right.
You come in there about 5 a.m. When I came in, man, them ashtrays was banging. It was, oh my God, this secondhand gonna kill me.
I'm glad they stopped it. I remember Yolanda used to smoke a little bit in there, but it was man. That's what smoking was everywhere, on airplanes, in the grocery store.
Big J, was they smoking on the plane?
Yeah, man.
The waitress coming down with ashtray in the middle of the airplane. You're like, oh my God.
They had the little ashtrays in the seat right there next to you. And people was just smoking. They had a smoking section. It was crazy. Cigarettes just were just part of society, I guess.
Well, I remember, and this was the dopest thing. I mean, there's a lot of dope stories about Daddio that I could tell, but this is the one that really sticks with me all the time about a man's man and someone handling their business. It was JJ Prince. He was on the air, and the IRS came up in there.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
And they threw him out and locked them doors, and this was that whole dynamic around the taxes and all those different things. And then if you have a signal, if it's off the air for a period of time, your license is in jeopardy.
Right.
So the IRS comes in, JJ Prince is on the air, boom, they bump him right off that air.
Yeah.
And they locksmith them doors. Daddio was so cold, he went and got his Winnebago from his house. He pulled that Winnebago into the parking lot, had that engineer throw that signal from the building into that Winnebago, loaded up some CD players, had a microphone in there, and was broadcasting KDKO out of a trailer behind KDKO. And while folks was talking about, there was, folks were collecting. Remember, folks was coming down Welton and they was giving dollars and all that was cool. But there were individuals, and for everybody who ever wanted to say something slick about Daddio, I'm going to tell you this. I remember Daddio used to wear, and constantly, if you saw him, he wore a lot of gold.
Yes, he did.
And I'm talking about diamonds and chunk, when we're supposed to wear them chunk gold rings and all that stuff. I saw him in the morning. He came, he didn't have his jewelry on. And no matter what you want to say about Daddio, in them hard times, that man never missed a payroll.
Nope.
There is nobody who ever missed a check from Daddio or he owes them money. And if you ever know anybody who owns and operates a business, and they know and you understand how difficult it is for you to make payroll for yourself or one person or two person or three people, shout out to everybody who can make payroll for an entire organization. Daddio never missed a payroll, and them doors was open back up. And I'm gonna tell you, I haven't seen anybody do something like that. That sticks with me in terms of, I'm gonna handle this business. I'm on top of this business. You can't knock me down. You can't push me down. You can't do anything, and you can't criticize me because I don't owe you nothing.
I think he was an innovator. It was an example that we all need to follow in this community, especially handling his business, doing business, and taking care of the community, because that's, we all got lessons in those things from Daddio, and he was in a fraternity of people in this community that, my dad included in that community.
Absolutely.
In that fraternity that really put black needs first, black education first, black culture first, just being proud of who you were.
And I want to pivot into a family, a father, and I'm talking about, one of those leaders in our community that was serious about unity in our community.
Dr. Daddio.
And was fighting to make sure that some of these negative elements that were permeating the community were not a part of the everyday fabric in the way that it has become a part of the everyday fabric. The Dean of Black Journalism, we've spent countless hours with Dr. Daddio. What would you like to say? What are your thoughts? What are your reminiscences? And what is the legacy of Dr. Daddio?
Well, Dr. Daddio, I mean, the line you just used, unity in the community, that's Dr. Daddio, and it's an easy phrase, just rolls off your tongue.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to that than just saying it. Dr. Daddio had policies, that he put in place, and he took boys and girls, young men and young women, and showed them a path that if they wanted to stay on, they could make something of themselves. You look at some of the guys that we worked with over at KDKO for years. Some of them have gone on. I mean, been on the radio in town now for 30 years. At other stations, gone to 2 other stations and made a life for themselves and for their families and everything else. So, on the one hand, Doc was putting the stuff out there for us and for young people. But you had to be receptive. Sometimes you got to be like a sponge as opposed to a rock.
That's right.
People say shit to you and should have bounced off. Well,
Did he just say you got to be a sponge and not a rock?
That's what he said.
Man, Nadine, you on one today, bro.
Well, it's like, people tell you stuff and all of a sudden, come on, man. I ain't got, just simple stuff like, I ref around town and stuff like that. And you tell the kids when they come on the court, I got to tuck my shirt in as a ref. We need you to tuck your shirt in and put your strings in your pants. And the kids, I played ball for 50 years. I ain't never worried about my shirt being out or my shirt being in or not having a shirt on. It's, can you shoot the ball? Can you put it in the hoop? Can you get a rebound? Can you dribble the ball? That's more important than I gotta act like the guys on TV. I gotta have my shirt out. I gotta do that. So Dr. Daddio, he was a character. I mean, there's no way to put it other than that. Dr. Daddio was like a he was like a beacon at some point, and I don't know if he thought of himself as that, but I know a lot of people who worked with him, who had contact with him, he was that. You had a different way of looking at him. He was a family man.
Yeah.
He made a life for his family. He figured out how, look, if I could just buy this radio station, I could bring something, not only soul music and music to the Rockies, I could have a business that my young people, my children, could inherit, could learn from, and could work in. From his daughter, Yolanda being the business manager, and his wife being the real business manager in the business, and Dr. Daddio working with young people and bringing in people like Jeff Green and people like John Bowman.
And a second, he just gonna go straight with the government.
Yeah, he said it.
No,
I said it just like that.
I kind of.
What?
What's your name?
It's like, man, just,
All these years, I never knew
and George Lopez and George
going straight government
and
today.
everybody that has been through the doors over there, and like Brother Jeff talked the other day about the FCC and the people with money wanting money from they came in and they wanted to close KDKO down. We were up on the second floor. That brother went and got his Winnebago, brought it to the parking lot, figured out how to get to the transmitter with a signal out, with some tinfoil and everything else, got that signal to the tower and stayed on the air.
Yeah.
I mean, this was when you come to those positions, and you're going to find out in the aviation industry, all of a sudden, this ain't working. Well, wait a minute, how do I, it ain't about numbers, it's about what will work, what can work.
Problem solving.
Yeah, problem solving at its best.
She said problem solving. Like, Shayna, what do you talk about? What are your thoughts and what's your message to these young ladies when things aren't working? And what are your thoughts about Daddio and unity in the community and the impact of community, because you were raised in a community?
Yeah, I grew up in, Aurora made me, but both of my parents had businesses in Northeast Denver. So
what businesses?
My mom owned and operated a child care center for 27 years.
Wow.
Where Dr. Daddio's granddaughter and daughter both attended.
See?
So had the opportunity to grow up with and around Dr. Daddio and his family. And he was an activist. He fought really hard for what I remember is him fighting for the 5 points, right? And Juneteenth, and making sure that it stayed in the 5 points. And then he tried to tell us, like, they pushing us up out of here. Let's go on and go to Montbello and, do our thing there. So, and our community had a hard time, accepting that. So I just think one of the things that I love about this community and what Dr. Daddio did was, again, created a place where we could get our stories told.
Hello.
We could hear,
Hello.
the world from our point of view, our perspective, and kept us grounded. Kept us grounded and kept it real. And so, yeah, I love that about Dr. Daddio, and I think what is happening today is a direct reflection of his legacy. Like, we're here in this space, right?
Yeah.
With you because of a Dr. Daddio.
Information you can use in celebration of James Dr. Daddio Walker. We got to do this. Dr. Daddio, his services are going to be this Saturday. There's going to be a viewing at Ballard Family Mortuary. That's going to be Friday. And the services are going to be on Saturday. The services are going to take place at Macedonia Baptist Church. Macedonia Baptist Church. Right there on, well, if you're old school, we call it 32nd. However, in modern times, individuals know it as Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. This Saturday, services at 11. The body will lay in state at 10 a.m. But again, Ballard Family Mortuary is handling the services. So for those of you who are wondering when, where, and how, Ballard Mortuary would be your contact in terms of the services. And there is a website, drdaddio.com. Everything I'm going to tell you could be found at drdaddio.com right now. If you don't believe it, try it out. It's drdaddio.com. Let me hit you with the trigger alert. This is a show